All right, guys. Well, I haven't been gaslit for a few days. It's been a few minutes since the last time somebody gaslit me, so hey, why not? Let's just go ahead and do this again. So, Fandom Pulse has this article here that says Fallout creator claims that video game developers have no idea what gamers want, then blames gamers for providing bad feedback. Now, before we get too far into the article, I do want to address something. It is true that we have heard from Ubisoft's own executives claims that unfortunately certain studios and certain companies are out of touch with gamers and they're still struggling to figure out what it is that gamers want. So this is clearly something that the video game industry has been struggling with for a while. You know, when it comes down to it, whose fault is that? Well, I'm not going to put the fault on the customer. If the person making the product can't figure out what the customer wants, that's on the company that's making the product, in my opinion. Again, you know, it's not always that the customer is always right. But in terms of trying to figure out who to blame, well, if the company making the product is making a bad product, you cannot blame the customer for that. So unfortunately, we're going to see one of the creators of Fallout blaming gamers for providing bad feedback. And this is getting really old very quickly here. So the article says, Tim Kaine, one of the creators of Fallout, recently declared that video game developers and studios have no clue what gamers want, but then proceeded to blame gamers for providing the bad feedback. In a recent upload to his YouTube channel, I find this funny. I just recently heard that apparently David Jaffe is attacking gamers once again or some nonsense. What is with all of these video game developers and creators of all these franchises suddenly becoming like YouTube creators and then using those platforms to attack their customers? This is the weirdest turn of events that I could think of in a long time, because I get it. Anybody can have a YouTube channel. That's the beauty of YouTube. It's truly YouTube, right? You're putting yourself out there, and that's great. But these guys who have been, you know, pillars of the industry for decades now, suddenly getting on YouTube and blaming their longtime customers, it's just a terrible strategy. It's like, if you want to know what gamers want, this isn't it, okay? In a recent upload to his YouTube channel, Kaine stated, I want to give you the raw, unfiltered response to do devs know what gamers want? And here it is. No, we don't know what you want. We have no idea, seriously, what you want. As for why he believes that game developers do not know what gamers want, he elaborated, here's the longer answer, and it's all kind of can be summed up as because you don't know either. He then explained, first off, many of you only tell developers what you hate. Great, you said what it is you don't want, but what is it you want? When you keep saying, I hate this in games, I hate this feature, I hate these kind of characters and all that, great. What kind of characters do you want? If you hate sarcastic characters, well, there's an entire realm of non-sarcastic characters. Before we continue, this is such BS, it's not even funny. I can think of a half dozen different games I've played in the last 6 months, year, that I think were fantastic games that had nothing to do with each other, that were completely unrelated to each other, like Ghost Runner, fantastic game. Characters are cool. It had nothing to do with like Tears of the Kingdom, which I played recently also, or Kingdom Come Deliverance, or any of these other games. Has nothing in common with these other games, and yet every single one of them is great on its own. I don't think that all developers are having this issue, and I truly don't think that customers and gamers are having this issue as well. I think this is truly a certain percentage of people in the video game industry who flat out just hate our guts. I think, to be honest, I think that's got to be what it stems from. So it says, what kind of characters do you want? If you hate sarcastic characters, well, there's an entire realm of non-sarcastic characters. But what is it you want? Do you want funny characters? Do you want serious characters? Do you want characters with a lot of background? You want characters with very little that you don't want to spend a wall of time in a wall of text dialogue? What do you want? That's why you have to tell us what you want and what you don't want. Next, he noted that even if gamers do explain what they want, it's vague. He said, even when you say what you want, you're often extraordinarily vague. You will say, I want a better game, I want better AI, I want a better UI. Yeah, I'll just slide the better slider from okay to great on all of those. Again, oh, God, this is so frustrating. Getting gaslit by these people is not helpful. I will say that this is completely the opposite of being helpful. If you don't say what you're talking about, but it can be really vague, he reiterated. For example, what does better mean for you in a game? Or when you say, how is that AI bad? What are you talking about? Are they just running straight as you not shooting? What do you mean? When you say you don't like a UI, what is the friction point in that UI that you're encountering? What is it that's bothering you? If you just say that UI is dumb, it's not helping, and trust me, it's not just gamers who do this. I work with people who've literally said that out of their mouth. They're like, that looks dumb. Great, I'll get right on that, he continued. This sounds like a guy who's just butthurt. I don't know. Am I crazy, guys? This just sounds like a guy who's just old and grumpy. Because to be honest, all he has to do is look at the games that have been successful, look at the games that have positive feedback, and look at the ones that have negative, And just don't do what the negative games have. Don't do what Dragon Age Veilguard did. Don't do what Concord did. Don't do what Dustborn did. Don't do what Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League did. Do what the games that have been successful for the last several years now have done. From there, Kane noted that gamers are not monolithic and have different preferences. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. He points to comments on his previous videos about people disagreeing with fast travel, different difficulty options, or encumbrance mechanics. He notes because of all these different preferences, there is no possible way to make a game that'll make all of you happy. Well, of course not. You're not going to make every single person happy, and that should never be the intent. The intent should be to make as many people happy as possible, which is why you should target the core demographic of video games. You know, the evil, toxic, incel, bigot gamers, okay? They're the ones you should try to make happy. Kane then added, what's interesting to me, and this channel has made me really acknowledge it, you don't even agree on the fact that all of you are disagreeing. In summary, Kane concluded, I get that you, the individual, want what you, the individual, want, but you have to realize that you, the individual, are not very good at giving developers feedback, and that you, the individual, are not everybody the game's being made for. Many of you aren't even in the majority, and I hear you. I don't think I'm in the majority. I like a lot of niche games. I've made a lot of niche games. And so that's kind of what I'm saying here is game development is hard. Of course it is. Everything in life that's worth doing is hard, guys. Come on. On its own, technically, but this lack of consensus among game players about what they want takes that difficulty to a whole new level. It's that much harder to make a game that you want to be popular, that you want to have a lot of sales, because most of you don't know what you want. Those of you that do know what you want are very vague at expressing it, and many of you don't realize that what you want isn't what a lot of other people want. This dude has got like the Kamala Harris word salad going on. He later concluded, do game developers know what game players want? No, we don't. Kane is not the only person to point out that developers don't know what players want during Q&A. Yeah, of course, and again, from this XDS24 conference, Mark Alexis Cote is the one that said, we can't figure out what gamers want either, talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft. Okay, so to Tim Kane, if you're still struggling to figure out what it is gamers want, okay? Like I said, there are examples. You can point to the games that are great, that are doing fantastic, that have really high positive reviews on Steam and on Xbox and PlayStation, and there are games that don't. Look at this right here. This is what gamers want, Marvel Rivals, okay? And no, not every game has to be a free game, but you can bet that this game is making plenty of money in microtransactions, all right? Especially with a lot of these skins they've revealed, okay? With the Invisible Woman making everybody like lose their damn minds, okay? Currently in-game, 454,000 right now. 24-hour peak, 522,000. They reached a new all-time peak of almost 650,000 players on Steam 3 days ago. Don't tell me that you guys can't figure out what gamers want, okay? There are ways you can look at this. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it comes out in a few weeks, and that game is going to do, I'm going to say $20 million in the first few months. I don't know, not $20 million. It'll probably sell like 20 million copies in the first few months. I would not be surprised to see it hit like Black Myth Wukong levels of sales, possibly, potentially, okay? Maybe I'm just being overly optimistic. Maybe I've just lost my damn mind. I don't care. The game is going to crush every other game in its path, other than like Monster Hunter Wilds, which is also going to be another fantastic game that is exactly what gamers want. So maybe stop being so vague and attacking gamers for having an opinion and realize that maybe just the industry needs a little bit of course correction and you guys don't know everything. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about all this, though. If you think I'm an idiot, let me know in the comments down below. I'm kind of hyper right now. I got a Monster Energy drink, and I'm going to be live streaming in a couple of hours. So make sure if you see this, come hop into the live stream, say hi, and I will catch you guys in a little while.